Thank you for participating today. We will now begin with an opening statement from Coach Mike White and then go to questions. Use the raise hand function to indicate you would like to ask a question. When you are called on for your question, please state your name and affiliation first. Coach, please give us a brief opening statement, and then we will go on to questions.
Yeah, congrats to ORU. They were terrific. What a story. They were really good the other night. I thought they were equally as good. They were just incredibly difficult to defend. We didn't help ourselves, of course, with the 20 turnovers leading to offensive opportunities for those guys. They're hard enough to guard as it is in a half court. A. Smith and O'Banner, I said it coming into the game, they're as good a 1-2 punch offensively as anyone that will play all year. I got to think that they're got to be in a conversation nationally for just how elite they are. You know, it's easier said than done. Again, for the scout to make these guys bounce the ball and crowd them. But O'Banner's just got a unique ability to get it off, to create a little space and get it off. And A. Smith is just phenomenal with his speed. And you crowd him too much, and you want to take away that three, and it's a layup or a driving kick or a foul. I thought they showed tremendous resiliency defensively. Getting stops when they needed to, getting defensive rebounds when they needed to. Hard-fought game, very, very tough emotional season for these guys. I really would have liked to seen Keontae and his teammates have a chance to celebrate and an opportunity to go to the Sweet 16, be up here another week and see what happens from there. Unfortunately, these guys are crushed, and that's it for this year's Gators. Tough ending, but congrats to Oral Roberts.
Now we will go to questions from the media. Use the raise hand function to indicate you want to ask a question. Our first question will be from Mark Long.
Hey, Mike, sorry about that. Tough loss. Any initial reaction to slowing it down? Like, any regret about slowing it down the way you guys did maybe in the final 10 minutes? And then how genius was that a CFO foul with 3 minutes to play, putting him on the line?
Yeah, I mean, really surprising. Rare that you see that, of course, at our level, especially with that much time. But I thought I had faith that Osai would step up and cash in. In his defense, I mean, this is a big moment for him and for all these guys. Hit the front end, hit the front of the rim, if I'm not mistaken. And Mark, the slowing it down, I don't, as I go back and if I had more time to digest it and really study the film, I might think otherwise. But in the moment right now, we were tired. I mean, these guys get you in rotations, and you have to cover so much of the floor defensively. We were mixing in 13, which is our 1-3-1 call, and with that, you've got to be super energetic and play with a ton of energy for that to be effective. And I thought that part of slowing it down would help us settle in with some of the erratic decisions that we're making offensively. I mean, we made some passes that boy, I wish we had back. But some of those live ball turnovers which led to layups, part of this slowing it down was so that we'd make some better decisions. And then I thought that we just would need to exert so much energy down the stretch in the half court, again, as they space you with 5 shooters to get some stops.
Reminder to the media, you can use the raise hand function to indicate you want to ask a question. Our next question is from Maddie Camparisi.
Hey, Coach, you guys played resilient all season long and just couldn't finish things off today. How much did the turnover ratio affect you guys going down the stretch?
It destroyed us. It's been our biggest issue all year. I'm not sure that there's anything else that we could have tried in terms of motivation or film we talked. I mean, you can't talk about it any more than we've talked about it. Working on it in practice. To me, it was a mentality that this team, unfortunately, never fully embraced the importance, unfortunately, of each possession. And let's just get one up. There were several times during this game where I'll just put it out there. I mean, let's let Trey shoot one from 40 feet before we turn it over. I mean, at least we give ourselves a chance. First off, some of those might go in. He's such an electric scorer. the way he's playing recently, and then we give ourselves a chance to go get in the offensive glass. But we just, you know, it's a big moment. I think our guys were really fired up. I think they had a lot of respect for our opponent, and sometimes playing really hard defensively, as we all know, can translate to some sped up offensive decisions, and we struggled with it again tonight.
Coach, on the positive side of things, a lot of guys did step up for you, especially in the postseason. Moving forward and going into next season, how excited does that at least get you?
I'm nowhere near that. I'm crushed right now. Our guys are crushed. It's been a long year. It's been a really long year, and you know, in today's day and age, you just we got to reevaluate some stuff, of course, like every team that doesn't get as far as they want to get, and who knows, you know, these days, who's going to return and who's not, and you know, all of us coaches throughout college basketball will hit the ground running here when they're done playing in terms of recruiting, and we'll get there at some point. But right now, it's just it's a tough night for us.
Our next question is from Christopher Heidel.
Coach, tough loss tonight to them. What did you see in the second half? Did they come out in the second half something totally different when you guys saw in film, or what did they do to make things differently in the second half?
Are you talking offensively, defensively, or just in general?
Yeah, offensively. Yeah, offensively.
I didn't see any major changes. You know, we as a staff, you know, my guys do a terrific job, and all of us collectively watched. Heck, we probably ended up watching 10 or 12 games. We knew what they were going to run. They knew what we were going to run. But it's hard to guard. That stuff's hard to guard, and individuals are hard to guard, just like us. You know, you might know what we're going to do, but guarding Tre Mann in space is very difficult, just like those guys. I think that if I remember correctly, a couple late rotations on corner threes in that left corner in front of their bench. A left slot three on O'Banner with some late communication. Where you're just not quite there, and then a jab three that O'Banner hit again in the left slot, where he jabbed our guy a couple times, and the focus there is he can jab all he wants. We've got to make that guy a driver, and we didn't quite do that well enough. You know, he hit some huge shots, but the actions I think were very similar. Just credit them. I mean. It's not like we weren't playing really hard defensively. We were, and these guys put 81 on us. They're an elite offensive team, and they're playing with great momentum right now.
Our next question is from Chris Harry.
Hey, Mike, do you just kind of think this game, you've been over-fouling all year, over-turnovering all year. Is this kind of the season in a microcosm in a lot of ways? Absolutely,
Chris. Absolutely. In this team's defense, again, what they've been through, my gosh, you wouldn't want any team to have to go through. And there's been 5 or 6 things that I think we've gotten considerably better at, Chris, throughout this season. But those 2 things, and even fouling late in the season, we were a little bit improved there. I don't know that fouling tonight, it's not like we just had some 5 or 6 really bad, ill-advised fouls. I mean, we're fouling as we're trying to stay in front of Asmus, who's he's a track athlete out there who shoots it as well as any guard in the country. I mean, it's hard to stay in front of him. So they earned a lot of those fouls, but the 20 turnovers, This group, I just did a poor job getting this team to embrace the level of valuing the basketball that's needed to compete at a high level.
If I can follow up too, please. Tre had his last points at 17:06. What did they do anything to take that away? I know you guys slowed some things down a little bit.
Yep.
He didn't shoot very much. For the rest of the game.
Yeah, I'd like to credit. I don't want to butcher the spelling of his last name, but yeah, I'm assuming it's Jurgens. Yes, number 11. I thought he was really good on him. Really moved his feet well. Down some ball screens. I believe they call it blue. You know, I heard him yelling blue. But getting Trey, trying to pin him over to the sideline, and you know, after he really got it going, of course, I thought led by him, but also collectively. Their bigs did a good job making him give the ball up.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Our next question is from Bob Redmond.
Coach, I was going to ask about Trey. I mean, he tried to carry you guys again.
Nothing but net.
No, I know you have to make a decision. You're a Gator defender, but I think I would.
To the corner. Speaking of logo.
Sorry about that.
Nothing but net.
Our next question is from Declan Walsh.
Defender, but I think I would.
Play added minutes because of that.
Just one question. There've been a few
Therefore, 8 play added minutes because of that.
points that really put teams away. Is there this kind of killer instinct that you guys for Roberts hang around that double-digit mark?
Guys, whoever's talking, I can't hear anything.
Declan, go ahead with your question again.
Oh, sure. There have been a few times this season where you've led by 8, 12, 14 points and kind of failed to put teams away. Is there kind of a lack of killer instinct that you think was shown tonight? You know, just or Roberts hung around at that margin for a lot of the second half before they made a run late?
You know, I don't know what you'd call it, Declan. We played a lot of really good teams, and we also came back from deficits, you know, that were very similar, just like our last game. So I just think it's part of college basketball. You know, I think the team that ends up winning this thing and those few teams that get to the Final Four will probably have a little bit more of a killer instinct than these teams that, like us, that had good years but wish that they had gone a little bit further, for sure.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
Yep.
Our last question will be from Bob Redmond.
Hey, Coach, don't know what that sound problem was, but
All good, Bob.
Trey tried to carry you guys again and still put up 19 points and 7 rebounds. Can you just talk about the overall season he had? And then again tonight, he was playing very well.
I'm really proud of Trey. He's a terrific young man. He's come so far. He's matured from year 1 to year 2 as much as any guy that I've coached. And I really mean that. And there's probably a couple other guys I would put in that argument with Trey. He's going to be a really successful player for a long time if he continues to work and he continues to have the humility that he has and the maturity. He's a high-character basketball player. He's a high-character kid. And he finished the year really strong. I wish that he had an opportunity to keep playing.
And then Colin had to fight really hard for what he got tonight, but he did well too.
Yeah, Colin was good. I thought they did a good job collectively. They really swarmed him. They got hands on basketballs. They tied him up there a couple times. I say tied up. I don't think they end up being jump ball calls. I think that they end up being turnovers where he kind of had it in a scrum, and they were just really active and swarming him. So credit those guys. But these last 2 games, he kind of got back into a rhythm, of course. And then I thought late game, better than all of our other front court guys. I thought he did a best job of in a lot of those switches on their guards, especially with Asmus, of getting in a stance, using his length, and keeping the ball in front of him.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach, for your time today.
Thank you, guys.
We'll be joined momentarily by Trey Mann. Please use this time to raise or lower your hand as necessary. We're now joined by Trey Mann. Use the raise hand function to indicate you would like to ask a question. When you are called on for your question, please state your name and affiliation first. Once again, use the raise hand function if you have a question. Our first question is from Bob Redmond.
Trey, how did things change in the second half for you? I guess you did get a shot up late. What did you see there?
Can you repeat the question?
I said, things changed for you in the second half. You had a great first half and then the early second half. What changed for you late in the game?
I just missed shots. We ran the same plays that I got the open shots in the first half. I got the same looks. I just missed shots.
Thanks.
Again, reminder to the media, you can use the raise hand function if you have any questions. Our next question is from Graham Hall.
Hey, Trey, Graham Hall, Gainesville Sun. Just down the stretch there, how did they defend you? How would you characterize what they were doing to kind of take you off your game?
They switched their ball screen coverage in the first half. I think they were trying to down, and their big man was on the left side to where they were trying to down to, but I just rejected it, so it was open lane every time I rejected the down. I did that in the second half, and they were on it. So obviously they changed it up, and at halftime. But yeah, that's what they did. They changed up their ball screen coverage, and I didn't get the looks. I didn't get the wide open looks that I was getting.
And just on the other end, how difficult of a team were they to defend? I know you guys watched 10 to 12 games in the scout, but actually seeing that in game, how difficult was that to defend?
It was everything that we saw, everything coach told us that was going to happen. It happened. I mean, you don't really realize it until you're doing it. I mean, you could realize it, but you won't know how good they are until you actually play them. And they moved the ball very well. They got 2 elite scorers on their team, and everybody is able to knock down shots. So when you're playing a team like that, it's hard. It's hard to defend, and they did a good job at that.
Thanks, Trey.
Yep.
Our next question is from Chris Harry.
Hey, Trey, I'll ask you the same thing I asked Coach. Do you think with all the fouling that went on and with all the turnovers that this was kind of like a game the likes of which has kind of haunted you guys this season and when you haven't played at your best?
Yep, that's exactly what it was. Turnovers and fouls late. I think we had 20 turnovers.
Yes.
And you're not gonna beat a good team with 20 turnovers and then a lot of fouls. They're the best free throw shooting team in the country. I don't think they missed a free throw, or they might have missed one or something like that. But you're not gonna beat a good team with those numbers, and that's what happened.
Thank you.
Our next question is from David Whitley.
Trey, how big of an issue was fatigue in this game and trying to when they play the offense? Was it more of a problem than normal?
You were going in and out. Could you repeat the question?
Yes. When it comes to covering Oral Roberts, was it more physically demanding? Was fatigue more of an issue down the stretch than it would be normally?
Yeah. Coach tried his best to let us save some energy on the offensive end. Told us that we had to exert all of our energy on the defensive end. So he slowed us down a little bit, let us catch our breath, and then we were supposed to give all of our energy on the defensive end, but we didn't give it all we had, and that's why we lost the game.
We have no further questions. Thank you, Trey, for your time today.
Thank you.
That's it for this post-game news conference. A transcript of the coach's interview will be provided by ASAP Sports at www.ncaa.com/transcripts.